Because I've really discovered from my short experience in life that you can be empowered in the sense that you can be working in a very nice corporate job, doing this and that, but you find yourself doing things that question whether you are actually empowered. So it's a mindset thing. Are you thinking you're empowered? Are you going about thinking, I need someone else to do certain things for me? But you're working. Why can't you do it for yourself?
Hey guys, this is Anesu, aka Nyati Shonga.
Hello, my name is Chido, aka Chizzy. Wagwan, Advocate Amanda here.
Hi everyone, this is Kuda, aka Cooks.
Hi, and welcome to As Told by Us, the podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 4 professional millennials discuss living in Zimbabwe and trying to figure life out.
Someone once told us the grass is much greener on the other side.
But from where we're standing, our grass is green. Subscribe, like,
Share,
comment down below.
Welcome back to another episode of As Told by Us. So, as usual, we start with a dilemma. This one's quite a sad one, so here we go. Hey, lovely ladies. My dilemma goes, I'm the youngest in the family, and my mom often disregards my opinions on business decisions. And then when things go wrong, I have to fix the mess and take over projects and implement new tracking systems to put things on track. I go through so much stress because she doesn't respect me at all. I'm her counselor and I'm emotionally drained. When she's angry with me, she mentions how I failed law and should have been a lawyer. But law was just not my passion. I have a BCom honors in industrial psychology and I love what I do, which is consulting. She blows up at me and humiliates me. Then behind my back, she praises me for all the work that I've done, taking care of her and managing all farm projects to get a profit. She rarely apologizes. I hate being under her roof and I'm trying to get my own money and move out. She hates the idea, by the way. How can I broach the subject of me moving out to live alone? Because I have had enough.
Yo.
You know,
This person's pain, yo.
you know how many times Adesu and I talk about moving out? Almost every week we're all like, we're over this, we're moving.
Let's leave.
So shame. And I'm sorry that you, and we're the oldest, which is also bad. I've never heard of the youngest being the one to complain. You'd think, but chances are she's maybe the youngest and the only one at home. I didn't get that, but in my mind, I feel like that's what's happening. But if you need to broach the subject of moving out, my advice is just move. Don't sit her down and have a conversation and say, or ask for permission. Get your things, find a place, and go. Apologize, don't ask for permission.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think for me, the only way I made it out was moving cities, which I think starts to be a different topic than trying to move out while still staying close to home. Yeah, I agree with Kuda's advice. Just have your things together, make the decision and follow through with it. I think it's a bit difficult, especially if you're the one supporting the household, which it sounds like you are. But I think there's value in getting some distance because that measure of respect starts to kick in a bit when there's some space between you guys. So yeah, good luck. It's always tough when it's a parent. So yeah.
But I think moving out is the best option for you. Because I can imagine just knowing your mom is on you like that every single day.
Yeah.
It's not conducive. You definitely need to move out. And the worst thing is that she's saying all these things to you, but then she's praising you outside. Which is crazy. Like, what did I do Like, I know I didn't become your lawyer person, but I'm doing other things, not like you're sitting at home. So yeah, save your money and move if you can. Find somewhere cheapish and get out of there. Because I'm just thinking also economics might be the issue.
It's expensive to be on your own. But sometimes the cost of your mental health.
At this point, you have to be out of there.
You'd rather. I don't know. But I do wish you luck. I'm sorry. I know that, especially African moms, there's a thing, how she says that she doesn't apologize. I don't know African mothers to be known to apologize. I don't know. Particularly also as a female, the conversation of moving out for African moms, for them, they seem to take it more as you want to leave the house so that you can be with your boyfriends, and do the nasty. That's kind of how they look at it. Why leave home until you're getting married? Unless, so but I think sometimes they don't understand that, especially at our ages, just the mental cost of the constant criticism. You never seem to get things right. Everything is a problem. I guess maybe it's a generational gap. We can blame it on that. But I do understand the struggle. Yeah. So if you can move, if not, find other ways to keep yourself sane until then. Yeah. Anybody else before we go into the topic?
All right, so today we have a really exciting guest in studio. We are with Lisa Sibanda. She is a lawyer who made an incredible transition from a strictly legal career into a modeling career. And she is now the first runner-up Miss Universe Zimbabwe 2024. And she's also Miss International Zimbabwe 2024. She's the founder of Face the Lion Foundation. And if you want to find out more about her, there's going to be links to her socials and to her website that's going to be linked in the description below. But we're going to hear a lot from her today. So welcome, Lisa, to the studio.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so apart from my introduction, I think let's just hear from you, Lisa. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here today. So just tell us, okay, maybe let's just jump right into it. Like, how has this switch been from, strictly legal world, getting into pageantry? What motivated this jump? And how has the experience been?
Thank you so much for having me. The transition is quite interesting because it's two different worlds. So it's a different turf altogether. But then I've always been passionate about modeling. It's just that I didn't execute my plans, or I didn't actually do anything about it. But I've always been an avid follower of pageants and modeling. So it has been something that I've lived with for quite some time. But it's only now that I'm actually participating and actually competing. So Miss Universe Zimbabwe 2024 was my first ever pageant.
Wow.
So, and you got first runner-up.
Yes, which is very interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So, but I believe that over the years, from me following other pageant queens and listening to their stories and seeing their stories and what they're achieving, I was able to move swiftly into the competition. It was difficult, but then I had a measure of understanding of what's going on. It was not completely blank. I don't know what's going on. So that was quite interesting. And a lot of people made comments, concerns rather, about me transitioning from strictly being a legal practitioner to a model, I got very, very interesting.
Yes.
Someone was like, you can't be both. You need to choose one. But I don't like the idea of being boxed in a particular space. I believe that you can wear so many hats. I believe we can be multifaceted in so many ways. So I've always believed that you can meet a doctor who's also an artist. A musician is also an engineer or a business person. So that's what I believe. So I stuck to my guns and I just told myself I'll follow my dreams, because with pageantry there's also the issue of you need to keep doing it for you to cement yourself. So the more you delay, the more you take away the chance of you actually cementing yourself in the industry.
Having a presence. Okay, so this word of discouragement, is it from people in the industry or people just in your life, or even both?
It's both. I don't take it to heart, because people they sincerely don't believe it can be done. And there are also some people who just don't like the idea of you exploring and doing other things that are exciting, because they're like, we should be bored together in this area. So I don't take it to heart. I don't take it seriously. But I also believe that if you want to follow your dreams, don't seek validation from people.
That's true.
Don't go around asking people, do you think I should be a model and a lawyer? Do you think this is going? You should be able to make a decision by yourself and follow your intuition and go with it. The moment you give someone else, you do that, you give someone else the power to control your destiny and the path, and you don't want to do that.
That's true.
I have a question in terms of like pageantry. I don't know much about pageantry. So I'm just wondering, like, what's the actual like process? Do you train to walk? Do you train how to talk? Because she's eloquent, guys. Do you train yourself to be this person, or is it more of because you just hopped into it, you just knew what was coming and what you needed to do? What's the process?
Okay, I will tell you something. Training for a pageant competition is like training for the Olympics. I'm telling you, it's a mental thing as well. So there's the physical part. You need to be very fit. You need to learn how to walk. It's just not an ordinary walk. I'm walking down the road. There's a way that you should walk, and pageant fans, they know the particular walks that you're supposed to do on stage. So you need to nail that, because the judges are also judging that. So the ordinary person would be like, oh, she's walking properly, but someone else would be like, her pace is slow, it doesn't go with the music behind, or she's got very small strides, because you need to have longer strides. Your knees have to be straight. There's so much technique behind pageant walks. So you also need to train for that. But then once you get the gist of it, you develop your personal walk. So if you're in the pageant industry, you would know that this person walks like this. Naomi Campbell has a particular walk, but then you do it over time, from practicing and also actually walking on the runway. So there's the physical part, and you also have to be very fit. It's not about being skinny or anything, because it's a lot, guys. Because you're on stage for hours, because you guys are sitting, you're cheering on, but then we are going backstage, coming back, performing. It's a performance, and then you go back. So you need to be actually fit for you to be able to do that. And you need to stand. You might stand for a very long time whilst the MCs or the hosts are doing whatever they're doing, and you need to be smiling, good posture. So all of that, you need to be very fit. And also just your body in general. I was training with one of my coaches, and he was talking about you can do the walk properly, but you can also they can see if you're not fit. So they're saying you need conditioning first, so that you look proper, like you look the part. And there's also the mental aspect. It's taxing, because you need to also know what's going on around the world. Keep yourself abreast with news, what's happening in your society, in your community, what needs are there in your community, stuff like that. So you can't be sort of like walking around being oblivious to what's going on around you. Because at the end of the day, after performing, after walking, you don't walk every day. You actually meet people, you meet delegates, you meet important people, you meet people who want to fund your foundation or whatever it is. So you need to be able to converse and sell it and actually have a meaningful conversation with them, talking about whatever it is that is of concern at that particular time. And also,
right?
Sorry?
A plan for how, say you win, we give you all these things.
Exactly.
What are you
the
going
vision,
to do?
what are you going to do with the platform? So you need to be prepared for that. And there's also the social media part. You need to be prepared for being liked too much or being hated. So you need to balance that. You're like, oh, you liked me yesterday, but then now you're making these comments. So you need to be in that mental space where you're very, you need to be in a very healthy mental space for you to actually take that in and just go.
Do you run your own socials?
I do run my own socials, but I also do have a team that I work with. So if I'm busy, they help me with running my socials.
Because I could just imagine that for somebody now who's in the spotlight, especially say if 3 years ago you were just a lawyer, you weren't really, like Instagram is cool, but like this was not a job. And now you need the Instagram, but now like you're saying, it comes with people that like you and it comes with people that might not like you. And just the cyberbullying and the harassment sometimes, the comments, and if you're taking in all of that on your own by yourself every day, it could be emotionally taxing.
That's very true. So it could be. You're very right. But then, luckily for me, I haven't received hate or anything like that. Or maybe I'm choosing to turn a blind eye. But then people have been very warm and welcoming, which is very nice. But I also think that you shouldn't dwell too much on or feed off of wanting people to say nice things to you, because it's not about that really. People have the right to express themselves the way they want to. And the way I take social media is that, to be honest, it's just someone else who's also just making a comment at home. You don't know what they're going through. So if they're being mean, probably they're also going through something. So you need to actually be very sensitive to such people.
You're so kind. That's just a kind answer.
Not really. I don't take things personally.
I love that.
If you are happy, what are the chances you go on social media and start bashing another person? You probably have something going on and you feel better saying negative things about the next person. So you actually need to see beyond the comment and actually try to understand people from that perspective.
In line with Anissa's question about what the process is like, say now leading up to Miss Universe, how many weeks is it to prepare? How do you sign up, sign in, tell the people you want to be here, and then what's that like?
There's a lot of admin work. So I didn't want to audition, but then my team was like, Lisa, please audition. Please, we ask you to. And when they literally took me to the for the auditions, because I drove there and I was like, I'm probably going to drive out and leave. And then one of my friends was like, no, we're there, we're coming, just wait for me. And they waited and they were very kind. I'm so appreciative of them because they pushed me. I wouldn't have done it. Even Instagram, I was such a private person. I didn't even want my account to be public. It was very difficult for me to realize that a lot of people, more and more people are following me. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't have privacy anymore.
I just followed you.
Thank you. But then now I'm kind of used to it. It's fine. It's all right. But then it takes a lot of, the more you prepare, the more you're likely to enjoy the journey, because you would have ample time to practice your walk, to know the vision behind what you're trying to achieve. Because some people don't necessarily go there for the crown. Some people go there for visibility, to interact with other people. Some people actually go there just to grow their confidence, because you need to master your confidence when you do all of that. So people go for different reasons. So I think you need, in terms of time, there's also that before, and there's also auditions, and then after auditions, there's camp, which is interesting. Camp was very interesting for me because it was like camp, like you're waking up early in the morning and you're sleeping late, practicing. During the day, you're doing something else. You're meeting up with sponsors, so it was quite a lot. But it was nice, and it was a lot in a nice way, to be honest, because you do get to learn a lot. Although in the end, I was quite fatigued.
How long is camp?
It was a week. But my coach was telling me that some people before Miss Zimbabwe, they used to have like camp for a month or so, because the idea is to really see who is the queen. You can pretend for 3 days in a week, but you can't pretend for a month. The clothes will come out.
But now, does judging start from camp? Or does judging start from the stage?
I think it starts way before. So when you're auditioning and whatnot, you're building up your credentials or yourself, and then people fall in love with you, and then in the end they'll start to see this person is more fit because over time they've been consistent, or they're engaging well with people, or she's a favorite, or just the way you handle yourself throughout the whole competition. So it's not about the performance per se only. A lot comes into play before the competition, because there's the show and then the competition. The competition is the whole process, and the show is just for you guys to see, and you're like, oh, she looked pretty in this dress or whatever, but then you can't necessarily choose a queen from 2 hours of a show. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to have gone to the final show, which was awesome, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
But also just following in the lead up, you and the final winner were like neck and neck throughout. It was even on socials. It was, who's gonna make it. Lisa was like the underdog that everyone was excited about. I think the winner was more experienced, right, as a model, and so it was such a stiff competition. So I'm just curious about how that played out, or that plays out in general amongst the girls at camp, because naturally with women everyone wants to compare us. So whereas with the pageant, you guys are literally competing with each other. So how does that translate, like realistically, in camp? Does it get awkward, or do you guys just kind of block it out and support each other?
For me, to be honest, it is a competition. Of course, you're competing with the next person, and you want to win. They also want to win. So we can't ignore that completely. We need to take note of the fact that it is a competition. But I think that it will be bad competition if you start then doing things to harm the next person, or if you start developing negative feelings towards the next person.
Yeah. And
I also think genuinely you wouldn't be the queen type if you start exhibiting such traits. So you need to be graceful, you need to be kind, you need to, because they're also there for the crown, you're also there for the crown, so you can't hate on the next person if they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. So I think if you are to become a queen, you just need to have that positive mindset to say we are together, we are competing, but also this person is also another lady who's trying to get the crown, which is fine, really, because it is a competition.
So what does it mean? Okay, so now you're queen, or now in your case, first runner-up. What does that mean for you, for the queen? What do you get?
Okay, so first runner-up, it means I'm second to the... So I came second, that's what it means. But then it's a platform. So before I used to say it's a platform, but I didn't understand why we're saying it's a platform. But then now I'm meeting different people. I'm being approached by different brands. So now I realize what it means. It's a platform for you to empower yourself. But then, like I always say, the crown or the position or the place that you have it's what you make it. So the crown is what you make it. If you want to sit around not doing anything, that'll be fine. And then next year you just crown the next first runner-up and Miss International Zimbabwe. But then if you want to actually use the platform for good, then it's another thing. And there's also, it's not all about glam and beauty and all these nice things. It's there because it is a beauty pageant, but then it's not all that there is. So you can actually make an impact in your community or society by actually doing something with your foundation or collaborating with other people, because you now have the platform. So people now, you sort of like have the voice for you to speak, and people actually listen to you because of that. So you can use that for the good.
So with the girls that you were with in camp, do you see yourself maybe working with them eventually, maybe in your foundation or theirs? Or
Of course, my roomie was Shelly Bent. We actually are talking about working together as well. She won Miss Universe Woman 2024 just recently. So you can actually collaborate and do more together, because she has her own audience and her own followers, and I have my own. So imagine if you combine the two, then you can actually do more work.
I love that.
So that's actually something.
Hey there, lovely listeners. So listen, running a podcast in Zimbabwe is quite the journey. It requires resources. And when I say resources, I mean money, time, and effort. Wondering how you can support us? Well, we've got you covered with Inbucks. Or World Remit if you're on the other side of the world and you'd love to contribute. Our Inbucks number is 077-810-3171. Whether it's the cost of a cup of coffee or a virtual high five, every little bit of your support counts. Remember, supporting our podcast isn't about funding our caffeine addiction, though it is in part, but your support keeps our podcast alive and thriving and helps us create more content, ensuring that our laughter echoes through your devices. Thanks again for being part of our community and for listening.
Do you think I could be Miss Universe?
Anyone can be Miss Universe.
Because you're stunning. So now I'm like, what do I need to look like? I should go to the gym.
They don't have specific standards to say you need to be this and that. But they're trying as much as possible to be as inclusive as, because the world is going towards that direction. So it's not you need to be this skinny and this tall and whatnot. So anyone can compete. Even when you check the contestants were shorter than me and taller than me. Different shapes and sizes.
I'm very short.
Yes, they were quite short ones, but then they did very well. So anyone can compete.
Let's do it.
Right. I'm curious. You said you had to be pushed into the competition, and that's what started everything. When and why did you then decide to jump all in?
When you want to do something but you're waiting for it's like bungee jumping. Like you actually signed the form and you let them put the rope around you, and then now you're facing the cliff and you want to go, but then you need that push because they push you a little bit. So I think that's what happened for me. I've always been passionate about it. When people are close to me, they know that I've always wanted to do this, but then it's just that you need to have the courage to do it, because it's national TV, guys. And you're walking there, people are looking at you, staring like, oh my gosh, everyone.
Please don't fall.
So you need to sum up your confidence for that. And it's not an easy thing to do.
It's definitely not. So because you were already living the dream in quotation marks, having a legal career. Even like our first dilemma question, that's, something that people approve of and accept. Say, she's a lawyer. So being able to say, look, I'm trying something different and I'm just going to go for it. I think that's super brave, but also super cool.
What was the conversation like with when you said, okay, I'm putting a pause on the law thing and I'm going to do this with friends, with family? Did somebody say, you're out of your mind?
I have people who say that, but then now they're like my biggest. Let me tell you something about life. You just need to go where your heart is going. People will just follow you when you get there. And now and I'm like, you're more invested in this than I am. But then at first you're like, I don't think so. Quite skeptical. But I don't blame them. It's an interesting transition. However, the lesson that I got from that is that don't seek validation from anyone. Follow your dreams.
And they'll follow you.
And they'll follow you after. People have the tendency of believing in your dream once they see that it's not materializing.
Right.
Now they're like, it makes sense. I think this is something that can be done, or this is a business that can be viable in Zimbabwe. But then if you tell people when it's still very much immature, they'll probably just pass comments. It won't work. It doesn't. It's not like that. So I've learned since that you just need to have people, because it's your vision, it's not their vision. So you can't blame them for not seeing it, because you're seeing it, but they can't,
They can't see it. Do you think then that in Zim pageantry in itself, there's room for it to be an industry, like a really big industry? Or do you think we're kind of capped with where we are? Because I'm just thinking, if you think about the States, for example, they have, each state will have its own mini one, and then there'll be like Miss Big America, and then after that there's Miss Universe, and then after that there's like Miss Alien, or like it keeps going, it keeps going bigger. All right, I don't know if there's Miss Galaxy at this point. But I think from the way that
a good idea.
Miss Galaxy, the way that I see it, particularly let's say in America or even in South Africa, you can start kids off. There's 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds going into all these pageants and competitions from childhood, right? And hopefully with the hope that eventually they will become Miss Universe. But yeah, in them, I know people do like modeling, but like at school, and it's like, it's cute. If your school does that, most schools probably don't even, So is this something that you think could be an industry that we should be tapping into? Or do you think how it is now is sort of the cap for Zim?
I think a lot of factors come into play when we talk about pageantry in different jurisdictions. Let's say in America, it's obviously bigger, so you'll have your Miss was representing a particular state. It's going to be different for Zimbabwe because we're quite small. And also other factors like our culture in general. People are they associate modeling with certain negative things. So people wouldn't necessarily throw their kids into that space, even if they want them to. So there's that cultural aspect that people have this mentality that models are like this and that, which I don't blame them for, because it's actually something that actually happens in modeling. But then it depends on how you want to take up that space in that particular area. But I also think that a lot can be done. It's only that we need there's need for more people who are interested in empowering women, actually interested in empowering women, to take up those leadership roles and build those agencies or be directors for particular modeling houses or anything like that. People who have the pure intention of empowering women. If we have more people like that who are able to move forward and make proper strides towards having like a healthy environment where people are like, oh, but I saw this person doing this, they're actually doing good work. And then the next person will be like, if this person could do this, then maybe it's not so bad, then I can also do it. And then that's how you grow. So it's about the people.
When you said women and empowering, the first thing I just thought about, women empowerment in this country, it becomes such like a buzzwordy thing, like, oh, we're doing this women empowerment, but like nothing happens, nothing helps. It's not actually to empower. It's really more just either if there's a grant somewhere that says this is for women, and then you say, oh, I'm doing a women empowerment thing, or you're doing it for selfish reasons, and it turns out that the person who's actually doing the women empowering is embezzling funds and she's not really helping anybody. So I do find that when we say, I think it's now becoming such a bad connotation to say women empower, anything that says women empowerment. And then worse, I'm not thinking because it's a pageant, you're talking about essentially how it's viewed is you're looking at people's bodies, you're looking at people's faces. What's really empowering about, about showing off your body, And if you're a man, I can see how you're asking a question like that. Obviously, as a woman, I can say there's power in it, but then all of a sudden, it turns into feminism, is this, that, and the other. And then now, how can you be upset when you're abused because you guys are walking on stage in bikinis? And, it becomes like an excuse, kind of. Women empowerment becomes an excuse and invitation for other nonsense. So sorry, that was just me going on a rant. But when you said that in my mind, I really said, in women empowerment in Zimbabwe. I want to have a question about the clothes before the clothes that you wear. Yes. Particularly the one where, fine, there's the dresses. But then there's the one that you I guess you pick yourself. Either it's like the traditional one or whatever the theme is. Do you get to pick what it is that you are wearing? Because there's somewhere I ask myself, what were you thinking? And then there's somewhere I say, oh, this is really pretty. Do you decide or does somebody choose for you?
Okay, so before I get into that, I want to comment on the women empowerment thing. I think that it has been talked about for quite a long time. Now it's losing its meaning. People are now insensitive about it because they're like, oh, everyone else is running with the women empowerment thing. But I also think that it starts with very small things, like what you do and practice at home, the way you raise the little girls, so the mindset even. Because I've really discovered from my short experience in life that you can be empowered in the sense that you can be working in a very nice corporate job, doing this and that, but you find yourself doing things that question whether you are actually empowered. So it's a mindset thing. Are you thinking you're empowered? Are you going about thinking, I need someone else to do certain things for me? But you're working. Why can't you do it for yourself? So it's just small things that might make it seem like you need an organization to run this, but then it's just the small decisions we make, the comments that we make, the kind of content that we watch, the kind of way we talk to the little girls, the little kids, the conversation that you have with yourself, the conversations that we have as women together, the way we view each other as women. Are we coming here in competition and saying, oh, I need to be better than this person, I need to feel prettier than this person? That's not an empowered mindset. Because if you're empowered, you're confident in yourself. If you go into different spaces, you are acknowledging that this person is beautiful or this person has earned this position, but then it doesn't necessarily take away what you've also earned in life. So empowerment is very, very broad, but then it starts with the mind. That's what I believe. So if we are able to change our mental perspective and shift it towards proper empowerment, then we're able to move towards the kind of fantasy or the worlds that we want to see. But it starts with the mind. So the little things that we're doing right now, you will know if you're acting like an empowered person or you're... It's not about wearing a nice suit with heels and you go and speak at that conference.
Never been.
It's not even up. Someone can go on that platform, do what they're doing, you admire them, and when you have a conversation with them, you realize they are not empowered. So mental emancipation is about being empowered mentally.
And financially.
As well.
I think that's an important part because I'm also just wondering, especially with, a woman thing in quotation marks, when you talk about pageantry and modeling, what comes to mind for me is the earning potential of those things and whether or not our community has taken it seriously enough for something that money goes into. So I'm interested in the kind of opportunities that you've seen come up. I know you talked about brands approaching and things like that. I know in Zim, that's something it's been a bit of a slow uptake into that kind of an industry where there's influencers and marketing is now going into micro-influencing and following a personality and having ambassadors rather than, jingles on ZTC. So how would you say people are actually able to make a living out of this thing? And how wide does it go in that sense?
I think it's about collaborative work. I can want to do something, but then if I don't have the means or someone enabling me to do so through sponsorships, then that's a hurdle on its own. So we need to collaborate, and people who have the financial muscle to do it, who actually have, like I was saying, the intention to empower women, should put their funds in there so that they see it running, because wherever you are, you need money, let's be honest. And also people who are being placed on those platforms should also know that people are putting in their funds, so they need to actually do the work that actually changes communities. So I think it's all about collaborating together and working together, because if it's one-sided, it won't work. And aspects like exploitation and being taken advantage of will come up if one party is not performing the way they should. So I think we need to collaborate in that sense and to make it work.
So is it there now? Just the investment into the industry?
There are people who are interested in investing, and there are also brands, like what you're saying about marketing through influencers. So they would take, for example, contestants from the Miss Universe as sort of like influencers. So they'll probably sponsor for that, because it's a platform and everyone else is watching on TV. So you have your pageant queen who wants so-and-so advertise for this, and that's how you can monetize.
Are they at the level of like sending you a package,
Yes, you
try
can.
out thing?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Sometimes you have to approach brands. Sometimes brands approach you. But then either way, you can monetize, or you can get services for just advertising. Maybe they'll treat you to a spa or whatever. But then, like you said, in Zimbabwe, it's not as viable as it is in other countries because of the country that we're in.
Now I'm just thinking back when Amanda spoke about money, like if you're someone who's now trying to get into the industry, like, I don't want you to say figures, but what's like, is it a substantial amount? Do you need to now have money for a whole team, or do you just need money for a coach? Like, how does it work? Because now I'm just thinking as a young person trying to start, what do I need? I've seen, okay, Lisa said you can get this and brand deals and all of these. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go for it.
But
Said you can learn how to win.
For me to learn to win, I need to know.
Like
what's my investment.
Yeah, what are the investments that you need to make as someone who's like trying to get there?
I will be honest with you. You need to fork out money for you to compete. So for some people, they have savings. So over time, you're saving money, and you're going to buy these outfits for this and that. And some people, they'll just, their parents will probably sponsor them and fund for everything that they need. And for some, they don't have anyone, which is the reality. Because at the end of the day, it's a beauty pageant. Your hair needs to look nice. You need to have nice makeup. You need to be wearing particular clothes. You can't wear a t-shirt and just shorts and just go about. Let's be honest. So there's also that challenge that certain people who don't come from particularly privileged families, who want to have the passion or the dream to become models or pageant queens, might not necessarily be able to compete because of those reasons.
So your team, like, do you need a makeup artist? You need someone who teaches you how to walk? You need a fitness trainer? Is that all of the necessities?
Not really. You need to improvise. So some of the things you can do by yourself, you can go on YouTube, to be honest, and learn how to do your makeup. You can hire a coach for your walk, but you don't necessarily have to have someone do something else, like manage your social media. You can do that by yourself. Yeah. Unless the people are doing it voluntarily. So you can have a couple of friends that are like, okay, yeah, I'll help you. Then we can share an account, and then when I'm busy, you can do this. But you don't have to have a team of people that you're paying or a PA. It doesn't work like that. Unless you're like, your brand is going very big, very fast, then you might need to keep up. But then sometimes you just need to work with what you have. And the idea of being a pageant queen is not about nice clothes, or you need to look a particular way, but then it's not only about that. You can wear the nicest clothes and have the most beautiful makeup and the most luscious hair, but then if you don't have the traits, or your character is not queenly, then you won't make it. So because I don't want someone young who's listening to think, I have to have all these things on me. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes people will just love your aura, the way you speak, the way you are, the way you just carry yourself. And people might even want to invest in you because they see their potential in you. So if you do have your dream and you're listening to this, you don't have to have all the money in the world to start. Just start somewhere and then you'll figure it out as you go. But then don't be taken advantage of. If someone wants to pay you for this because they want something else, in return, don't do that, because in the end, it will work against you in the industry.
Okay, I have two last things. One being, do you feel that now after, so you've done this, people now know you, like you said, you now have more followers. I'm sure people have seen you in the streets, wherever it is that you hang out. Do you feel like your personal life has had to change in that either A, I can't be seen going to Pick and Pay without my hair, I can't not have my lashes on, I now need to have my fingers done, I can't go to Jam Tree and act a fool, probably can't even drink at this point. Do you feel like your personal life is now being watched, so now you're a bit more careful with how you present yourself, even when you're not competing, or you're just always competing, and that's just life?
I see what you mean. After I won, my sister called me. She's like, "Are you even allowed to do anything?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I think for me personally, my personal journey, I've always been someone who likes dressing up. So even when I'm going to work, I've always been someone who dresses up, and I like looking cute when I'm walking about. But I also think my personal life, you might be driving and you're going about your business and someone's like, "I saw you driving along this road." And I'm like, okay.
So
or you might be ordering something, because the one time I was ordering something from Nando's drive-through, and I was like, "Why wouldn't you give me a straw?" And then the person was like, "I'll give you a straw, Lisa." I was like, "They know me." No. That's when I realized. So things have changed a bit. It's not as hectic as, oh my gosh, because we don't have that celebrity paparazzi culture thing going on. But then when you attend events, you do have people like, "Oh, you won Miss Universe first runner-up. You can get a picture," which is always nice. So it's just small changes, because it was not a huge transition in terms of my dressing and just the way I carry myself in public. But maybe you need to be careful of the places you go to and how long you stay there for and stuff like that.
And what you do. You never know who's watching.
And what you do, because you also will realize that you're sort of like a role model for other people.
Right.
And people you don't even know. So you need to carry yourself in a way that is inspiring rather than...
Okay, my last thing. Please tell us about your foundation.
Okay, my foundation is called Face the Lion. It started as not a joke, it's actually, but then when I was practicing as a lawyer, I used to, when things go hard, I used to be like, face the lion, as in just face whatever it is that's in front of you, and you get over it, and then the next day you're facing something else. So that's why I chose the name Face the Lion. But then it's about gender-based violence, because I've realized that it's a very wide topic, and we've heard about it quite a lot, so you might be very insensitive to it. But I realized that more people experience gender-based violence without even knowing it. That's true. So just abuse in families, you realize that probably someone's mom is a victim of gender-based violence, or someone's sister or someone's brother, they're facing it one way or another, because it's very wide. So from harassment to just verbal abuse. You know, people are not starts being a victim of gender-based violence, and you start seeing all these traits coming out from people, from bitterness to anger to depression, anxiety, and you wonder where it's coming from. But then it's coming from those experiences that they have because of gender-based violence. So that's why I was very keen on just raising awareness about it. And if you start from a very young age, because if you raise a child in an environment where they think their mom being shouted at is normal, they'll probably replicate the same thing in their household. So we need to take that out from the grassroots, from primary school. And I'm glad it's part of the curriculum now. So we just need to raise more awareness, because most people don't know that they're victims, but they are victims.
Yeah.
So if you realize that this is the problem, this is not proper, this is not what is supposed to be happening in my life, at least if you start from there, then you can see how you can resolve the problems and see how you can find a solution for yourself, for your family member, for your friend, or whoever. And it takes away the whole aspect of judging someone and be like, they're always angry, what's wrong with them? You could just look at their life and see maybe they're experiencing some form of violence and you don't even know it.
Okay. My last question would be, what was your biggest surprise about the industry and going in? What really is your biggest takeaway from the experience that you've had now? And what are your hopes and dreams going forward?
The biggest surprise. The biggest surprise. I didn't know that people can actually support you. I didn't realize that people were going to support me the way they supported me. So I was just going about my business, doing whatever I'm doing. And then you find someone who's like, Lisa, I was watching the show and my data finished and I had to ask my husband to hotspot me. I'm like, okay, that is so sweet. And some people voted for me and I don't even know them. And people were sharing my voting links to other people. A lot of support and love from people, which I found to be very, very nice, because you're just going about thinking I'm following my dream, but then it's not only your dream, it's also other people who are excited for you and excited with you. So that was a very nice surprise. And it's I was thinking in my mind, I thought it would resonate with like a younger audience. But then I've since realized that people from my mom's workplace were like, oh, we were watching, and people from church. So it's different. It's quite dynamic. So it's actually quite nice from that perspective. And then what's the second part of it?
Like going forward, what's next for Lisa?
What's next for Lisa? So my aim really is to just change the narrative. We were talking about the negative perception that people have towards the modeling industry. But then it's not the case for other countries, because other countries, they actually make an impact. So I also want to leave that sort of like legacy to say, if you do this, it's not only attached to the negative. There's also quite a lot of good that you can do using the platform. And to be honest, you're not forced to do things that you don't want to do. If you don't want to do certain things, you don't want to do certain things. If you find that this opportunity would pass, it's fine, it will pass. Something else will come your way, which is much better and probably less harmful. So that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. And actually make an impact in the country itself through the platform that I have. Awesome. And I also want to encourage people, like young people, young men and women, to say, you know what, you can be a lot of things. Because when you say you're a lawyer or you're a model, people are like, oh wow, okay, so you're both. So it's interesting. So I want to just show people that it can be done.
You're not one thing. Love that. Thank you, Lisa.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have questions for Lisa, any engagement, please do comment, hit us up on our socials, do follow her, give her more support as usual. And thank you from us, as told by us. Subscribe, like, and keep on listening and share. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.